This is Life After the Impact. My name is Roxanne Johnson. My son's name is Jamal Byrd. He was killed by DC Metropolitan Police on October the 1st, 2019. I'm here with my co-host, wonderful co-host, Latoya. What's going on, Latoya?
What's going on, Roxanne? How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Pretty good. You guys, hi. Once again, my name is Latoya Benton. I am the co-host of Life After the Impact. My son, Xavier Hill, was killed. My only child, Xavier Hill, was killed January the 9th, 2021 by two Virginia State troopers. You guys, on this podcast, we say all the time, we about that action. So before we get into who we have, or I'm sorry, while we have who we have on the podcast, let's introduce who we have on the podcast. Patricia, give a brief intro of who you are and who your beautiful sons are, please.
My name is Patricia King, and thank you. Um, my son's name was Elijah Edward Timmons III. His murder was in Hendersonville, North Carolina, November 24th, 2023. And also, my youngest son was killed in a car wreck that is highly suspicious. Um, uh, April 28th, 1970. I'm sorry, 2017. Um, and his name was Covante Timmons. So those are my children, and I appreciate you guys for having us.
Who you want to pass it to?
And let me pass. I love you both. I just hate that picking. But let's pass it to Kiwi.
Hello, how y'all doing? My name is Alkiviet Cooper. My son name is Zabri Miller. He was killed in Norfolk, Virginia, September 4th, 2022. And thank you, ladies, for having me.
Thank you, Keith. And last but not least, Miss Williams.
All right, now my name is Arnetta Williams. My son is Tamir Newman, and he was murdered in Emporia, Virginia, February 26, 2024.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, ladies, for your introduction. Now, I'm going to just say this real fast, and Roxanne, you can kind of take us to the next question. You guys, as you know, our normal guests, if y'all notice that after each introduction, they did not say it was by a police officer, right? Our podcast is only known for having families on here who have been killed by only officers. However, I think part of the fighting for justice is bridging the gap and knowing what could be part, I would say, the hindrance of us not either like moving the needle forward. Roxanne, you want to kind of piggyback on that as we kind of go into
Yeah,
our conversation?
I read a really good quote recently that I'm going to use right here. The quote said, there's a there's either consciousness or indifference, and indifference leads to blankness and emptiness. And so, our hope this evening is that we raise the consciousness level of the community about the fact that police violence and community violence, as far as these systems that were not designed for us, they do not see it as any different. And the way that we can get some traction in this area is if we work together as a community to hold these people accountable, no matter what the nature of those deaths were. The problem is that we as a community sometimes, even within ourselves, separate.
Separated. So, Roxanne, with that being said, you guys leading our conversation, let's start off with this. And anybody can answer this question. Why do you guys think that community violence and police brutality are often discussed as unrelated like topics? Anybody
And
want to?
you said
Go
as
ahead.
unrelated topics
Yes,
Mhm.
ma'am.
because they don't see them as the same. There's no comparison depending on whom that topic is discussed with, right? So when you think about the police brutality that takes place, unfortunately, even in today's world, it's hard for people to even assume or digest that brutality and police can be spoken the same.
Mhm.
And the violence that's taking place in the community, It also depends on the community itself that we're speaking of, because you're not going to have violence and a predominantly white community in the same sentence. Oftentimes, violence is only spoken about when it's in a Black community. And what they would speak of in a Black community, they would focus on lack thereof, as a better word. They would call it the impoverished community or
Right.
the urban community. So to be able to combine the two, how they would separate it is that they don't see that the police is at fault based off of some of these issues that are taking place in the community, because there's no trust there. So in order to be able to merge the two, in regards to having a discussion that's going to take place from the community, whereas they can fully digest it, there has to be a trust factor that takes place within the police community. And that's the reason why we're here today, because that trust factor is no longer there.
Well, okay,
I-
but now that's
I-
the part I'm kind of go ahead, please.
No, no, I'm sorry. I think that it is intentional to cause these distractions that are just slung in to a group of chaos when it comes down to these murders. I mean, they pinpoint, oh, it was a black on black crime, or this, they try to pull like when it's a police actual shooting, it's like, that's automatically trying to be covered up. They don't want to take accountability for those types of crimes. Then but they highlight when it's, a black on black crime, because they know that when they explain or like highlight how these murders are happening in our communities, they want to make it look like, well, look, y'all making a big deal about us, but you guys are doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Or worse, like y'all killing each other. So they highlight it, and it distracts families from, okay, this is not a police shooting. This is a black on black crime. And I think that when they do that, it makes it take precedent. So anyways, we're all fighting and distracted and arguing over which way things are going. And nobody is seeing the true picture that a lot of this stuff is intentional to cause chaos and future harm amongst ourselves. As long as we're fighting amongst ourselves, we're not painting the bigger picture.
Right, cause confusion.
And can I just interject one thing? Because I hate that term black on black crime. And here's the reason I hate it. You don't hear people saying white on white crime. And in this country, there's more white on white crime than there is any other. You don't hear people saying Asian on Asian crime,
right?
Or Latino on Latino crime. Right. So I'm proposing that we stop saying black on black crime.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just wanted to give a description. I really hate it too.
No. I'm just saying that as a community, because we're playing into their hand when we use these kinds of phrases that are not accurate. That's the word I want to use.
Right.
Yeah. They're not accurate. Unless we're gonna say this was an Asian on Asian or white on white, then don't say black on black. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Because it's another way to kind of, we don't have to deal with
play that. So
kind of dismiss it. Kind of a way of being dismissive.
Right. So let's go back to as far as trust within policing, or just trust in the system. Let's kind of tap on that too as well. Because I just feel like, there is no way to trust the police. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes, and even when they are responding to either things in the community, they're responding to lack thereof in the community. They're not really responding to anything, right? If you're robbing a store because you're hungry, that means if you lock me up, I'm still gonna be hungry when I get out. It don't solve anything, right? The police is responding to something. So how, with that being in common, even beyond the police, what other things do these two things have in common? Would y'all say that we are fighting against collectively? Or, Anita, would you say, this, when you say they, are you referring to the community can't see past that point? Who is the they you speak of?
Well, the they that you speak of, because the overall topic is being spoken upon as far as the community itself, right? So when you speak about the people that are in the community itself, they, them, the community, of course, they do not trust the police. Do I feel as though, is it possible I kind of look at it this way, right? We can't judge all for some. The same way Roxanne said that we need to remove the terminology black on black crime because it differentiates us from everyone else. It separates us from everyone else. I can honestly say I do believe that there are some good police officers. Unfortunately, we just haven't ran into so many of them that actually stand out as those good police officers. So what we do is we label all of them based off of what many of them are doing. It's just like we as a Black race, an African American people, we see that what's taking place, we unfortunately get judged for everybody.
Okay,
So
well,
they don't
I have a
see
quick question for you though.
Mhm.
Quick question for you. Go on though,
Yeah.
because and this is gonna go back into the generalized conversation beyond the police, though, right?
Mhm.
Because it's not. I wouldn't say it's even just with the police. I think even as Keely mentioned earlier, with the hospitals or the coroner's office or the medical
Mhm.
examiner's office, right? That's
Mhm.
systemic. So even if let's say you were able to trust the police, right? But you
Mhm.
still got a crooked ass judge, you still got a crooked ass ME.
Mhm.
What good is that gonna do systemically? But you want to hit on that?
I really I feel like I understand that her point, and honestly I wish that there was some point that we could get to that, but I don't trust these damn people for a lot of reasons. They are not to be trusted, and even the ones that can we think can be trusted, because that's my nephew and I know he's a good cop, doesn't mean that overall they're not speaking up, they're not standing up, they stand back, they're quiet because they're told. They're required to be quiet. They're required to lie. I don't trust them at all. They shouldn't be trusted. And I don't give a shit if people don't like that. That's just what it is. They are not to be
Yeah.
trusted.
And I'm gonna say this: I don't think we can have any good police. Period.
There's just not.
And I look at it from this kind of perspective. If I have a house, and I always say this shit, if I got a house, right, and I know the foundation has a crack in it, I have no need to keep building around this crack because that shit
Right.
gonna just keep cracking. It's gonna just
Yeah.
keep cracking. I don't care what I try to put around that shit. It's gonna keep cracking. And think about the history of, I think, again, culturally conditioned, we have this mindset that the police are there to save us. Allocate the funds to somebody else. If they have the police are responding to mental health issues, no, allocate the funds to a social worker, somebody who can actually get that person some kind of help. Locking them up doesn't do anything.
Right, right.
Kitty tap in. Oh, I'm sorry, Roxanne. Go ahead. Let Miss
I
Kitty tap in,
I was
please.
gonna add that, it's not the police themselves, not the individual who has been hired as a
Right.
law enforcement officer. It's the very nature of policing that
Right.
is that causes us to be to not trust them. And myself, I am an abolitionist when it comes to policing, meaning that I believe that there is a way that we can have safety in our neighborhoods that does not include the current version of policing, community-based policing,
Mhm.
where we take care of us principally with maybe some assistance from them. But here's the thing: there were people watching police officers or someone in that air in that type of career that watched another police officer sit on a man's neck for 9 minutes
Mhm.
and they didn't do a damn thing. So
Right.
yeah, all y'all are suspect and y'all can kick rocks as far as I'm concerned because
For real.
the very nature of what policing. Now I ain't got nothing against you personally. I don't know you, but I know what you do and I know how you're trained and I know that you don't see people who look like us right now as humans. And so you're going to treat us a certain way because of it.
Definitely. Miss Kitty, you want to tap in on that? You on mute, I think.
Sorry, I didn't.
Nope, still can't hear you.
Okay, hear you. There
No,
you
I
go.
was just agreeing. I'm sorry. Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was just agreeing.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So okay,
It's sad and I don't like it, and I wish that I wish that there was some form of respect on both sides, that when things are taking place, that we do have a person that we could call to kind of be the person to help resolve things, but it has turned away from that from day one. Like that whole policing system was built on lies and finagling things and turning things around and manipulating things. And so, I mean, the more I dig into the things that I'm looking into, they are just, that's just what they do. And I'm not saying they as every single person, because I know there's some good-hearted people, green, purple, yellow, whatever color people that generally want to be good people. But again, once you're surrounded with, like you said, the cracks, that doesn't make it feel any better. I think about Miss Massey. If that camera hadn't been on, them
Right.
people would have got away with what they did to
Right.
that woman. And guess what? She is not the first, she is not the last, and she will not, that will continue to happen as long as we have the police. Because as long as they think that they are empowered and they can get away with stuff, they're gonna do that type of stuff to any and everybody, the same way they threw a sheet over my child with a pulse. They do not care. And as long as they can, and they're doing it in our face. They're doing it with I mean, if I could tell y'all, I see these videos when I don't want to see these videos. They're popping up left and right, how they abuse their authority. And so, I mean, if you don't know, if somebody comes and say, "Hey, the police did da 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 da," you can't say they didn't do it at this point, because they're not to be trusted. They will lie and do what they've been doing and what they've known to be doing since they've been wearing white hoods. They will just do it.
Let me ask y'all this question right here, and let's just kind of go over this too. Would y'all say any of this has to do, because even with certain commandments that we deal with right now, when it comes to the quote unquote attention okay, I would say, depending on how bad or not the person might have been within the community violence, they may put a case on the news if they're trying to make that person look worse of a villain to a certain extent, right? That case might go on the news. Then you got the police cases that people see to go on the news too, but some cases don't go on the news. Do you guys see a separation or think of, how come my child wasn't highlighted on the news, or how come this story wasn't told in this kind of aspect? And because of that, do you feel there's also like a separation that happens amongst us trying, because again, that's also by design. The media can pick up whatever case it wants to pick up. So do you guys feel like that it also plays a role in fighting the system to kind of like, how about like knowing about cases?
I do. I also feel like it's also interconnected. And the reason why I say that also is because I went through that exact same thing when trying to get coverage for my son's case, right? The police tried to convince me that they actually did reach out to the police stations. Well, me being the person that I am, I'm calling all of the news stations to find out whether or not if that was actually the case. And finally, I did speak to a young lady who is the anchor of ABC News in Richmond, Virginia. And what she basically stated to me, she never heard of my son's case. And I contacted the media representation for the police to find out whether or not if there was something submitted to them in order to report about my son's death. They never received any of that. So therefore, we think, okay, does the media just want to push us away and not take the stories, or is that information being submitted by the police? Now, here's the thing, it's ambiguous, it's two-parted. We can also say that the news is going to pick up what they want and report what they want, but we also have to hold the police accountable in regards to the fact that if they really wanted to push that story out there and that narrative out there, they could. They choose not to. It's selective based off of the fact, clearly we see our Black children are not a face of importance to them. So they're not going to be submitting that information in regards to being able to give us the coverage that we need. So as we stated earlier, the KKK, we're going to call them what they are positioned everywhere.
Absolutely.
Everywhere. They're positioned, racists are positioned everywhere.
Absolutely.
So it does not matter that they're not walking around with hoods on or anything of that
They
nature.
still going to work.
Sit there and smile in your face and you'll never know, because they have been literally trained to perfection to be whom they are so that they don't be seen, because that's the whole premise of their nature. They don't want to be seen, because if they did, they would never walk around with hoods on their faces, right?
Or
So
Well, they were
mask.
cowards in the first place. They're just
yeah,
Or
cowards.
mask. Now they got
exactly.
masks.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we have
So,
to
Yeah.
so
think
with that being
about
said, then with those two cases, right, the KKK Act and you got qualified immunity,
mhm,
pretty much meaning the same thing, right?
mhm.
If you got police working under an act such as such, how is that a good thing, or how can somebody have benefit of having a job where you have immunity of just killing somebody, or in any of our cases they can lie on a form,
Mhm,
they can
Those
like
are
not
just
do it.
purple.
mhm,
Those are purposeful umbrellas set aside so that when stuff
Boom.
happens, they can hide like cowards under those types of things. I mean,
mhm.
that just doesn't make any sense. And I think that people don't recognize these types of acts to so that we can understand them as all systemic racism. It's all
Exactly.
systemic. It's in every entity that they can find. It's like a train ride from
Yeah.
one piece of hell all the way to the bottom of hell. They've
Yeah.
got every way to get you deterred, referred. I mean, just swish
Right.
you around. And if that's not good enough, they're going to continue to make things harder for you to get to justice because now we're the problem.
Yeah.
When I started raising sand about my son, it was this woman is going right here talking about our upstanding police department. I thought, what the hell?
Mhm.
Upstanding? Y'all been killing people since before I was born and slinging them under this weighted rug, and nobody's been able to speak about it because you have Miss Hattie Mae and them scared out their damn minds that they're gonna be put out their houses or put out their Section
Mhm.
8 housing and all that
Mhm.
craziness to keep them from being able to speak up about the stuff that y'all do. But y'all don't have Miss Hattie Mae. I am Patricia
Mhm.
King. My mom and them gave me, I am somebody. Just
That's
like all of
right.
you are somebody.
That's
I'm not going
right.
to be muzzled by y'all bullshit. I am
That's right.
not. And I'm going to speak up about my son. I'm going to speak up about Arnetta's son. I'm going to speak up about Kiwi's son, your son. I'm going to speak up about them on every platform that I got. You're never going to be able to hush me up. You might be able to go on my algorithm and change shit and make it so I can't be seen or heard. But some way, somehow, and the grace of God, somebody's going to hear these stories because y'all are full of shit if you think you're going to muzzle me. That's just not what's going to happen.
Mhm.
Right. And here's the thing, sisters. This is a system that was never meant
Mm-mm.
to support for us.
Right.
Right.
Mm-mm.
But here's the good news. Everything that has ever happened in this so-called, I call it United Snakes of America sometimes,
Mhm.
that is benefited civil rights, guess who pushed it forward?
Hmm.
We did.
Right.
We did. So people who come
Because
here
they
from
would have been okay.
yeah, people who come here from another country, they get the benefit of our hard work.
Mhm.
And if we
Mhm.
did the hard work before, we can do it again. And I'm
That's right.
so glad that we're having this conversation because, yeah, we do need to join forces and
Mhm.
understand it's the same
Same.
systemic
Same.
system.
Yep.
So do you
Yep.
guys feel like I like to make football references, Roxanne be like, but as like in a playbook, do you feel like, when they put us in the community against each other to pick and choose, like to see a good and bad or whatever? Because again, you can see beyond our tax dollars, they're funding the police, and that's still when we call somebody, whether it be on the community side or whether it be on police brutality side or not, that's who people are still being called upon, right? But again, we should get a say as a community who we want it to be funded by. But do you feel like that is a play in the book to kind of keep us divided so that we cannot collectively fight, you know what I'm saying, together? Keely, I want you to
Absolutely.
chime in first, please. I want to hear from you. Talk to me.
I really do think that first we need to, as you were saying, I think that we do need to, as a Black community, and we need to pull together and start supporting each other. I do believe that they do turn us against each other. Um, so I think with I don't know. I just think that that is an issue. I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
okay.
kind
It's
of
okay.
No,
I'm
you're
kind
fine.
of it's a lot for me right now. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I what I'll explain is I explained to Patricia, like, I don't normally talk about this stuff. I do want to get up here and talk with you ladies, but I normally don't talk about this stuff. I don't talk about my son. That's the way I deal with. I just don't talk about it, you know.
Okay. Well, let me
But I do want to be
encourage.
here, and I do want to,
Yeah,
talk.
let me encourage you on that really quick in regards to you not talking about your son, because you have to. And I know that it's hard in order to do so. I know that for a fact, because for a moment it was hard for me. It's still grief. And regardless of how long it's been since our children have been taken off of the face of this earth, we're still going to grieve.
That's right.
And it's still going to feel as though we can't talk about it. But in order to be able to help you through that grief, it's going to take your voice in order to be able to speak about it. There's no right way and there's no wrong way to hold that conversation. If you have to hold that conversation in your tears, do so. If you have to hold that conversation and every first and second, third word that comes out of your mouth is a curse word, do so. Because what you're doing is basically you have to heal yourself in order to understand where you are. In order to be able to do that, what you're doing is taking the power back. Because as long as you say nothing, they are in control.
They're in control. That's right.
That's the system's way of basically silencing you, right? So like Roxanne said, is that, we're being pitted against each other in those communities. And instead of the police policing our communities, what can we do? What should we do? Or just like you said, for a wellness check or mental health check, instead of sending the police out there to do it, why not do so as far as social workers? Where here's the thing, once again, when we speak about the dynamics of those individuals, racist individuals are in the social working atmosphere as well. So that's where we have to strengthen our community and know each person in that community that is under that platform of social work, so that they can be coached and trained to be able to.
And look, I'm going to win farther than that. Also, even just following up, right?
Mm-hmm.
We as a community, we'll put a program in place, and then they'll be like, oh, okay, we got a boys and girls club, but are y'all checking to see if it's ran down or not? I think just the follow up of that, right? We can have a program in place, but then you got people stealing all the money later on. Mm-hmm. No, it's make sure we as a community we are the ones who have to make sure that we checking them. Because they think a lot of things, they go into office or not, and they think they're uncheckable. So certain things they do, it happens to all of us. I'm quite sure everybody on the phone call has had an issue with either some point in time trying to get some kind of documentation, some kind of paperwork or something that you could not receive. Right. Am I right or wrong?
You're very much correct.
Very correct.
And
I want to speak up. I want to speak up to bring something to this as well about our sons. And I think that me and Miss Kiwi talked about this on our conversation earlier too, is that some of us feel some parts of shame sometimes when it comes down to our children, because they may have a record, or they're depicted as these evil people or whatever, or maybe they was involved with something that happened and then they ended up getting killed, and then so the police is lesser inclined to do a regular investigation, because they feel like, well, that person was, they was out there doing God only knows what. They was out there whatever. So then that causes some of us moms to feel like, well, I can't speak up on my child because they're going to bring that up. Well, it does not matter what life they lived, and even up until the moment they were taken, that shouldn't stop people from stop these police officers and detectives from doing their job. I mean, even in those investigations, if you found out my child did shoot a person first or shoot at a person first and that ended his life, then we still should have that on paper, regardless of you just saying, oh, I'm just going to say that. And then y'all have to believe that, because guess what? Just like I was speaking about the sheep, when every one of us, any one of us can honestly say that when a sheep comes out and it gets thrown over a body, we automatically in our head go ahead and think, okay, that's the truth. That's facts. We trust that because we've never, I'm here to pull out when they throw that damn sheet on people, they think about how many times they have thrown that sheet on people and those people were not dead.
Yeah.
And I mean,
let me just add this into this. Law enforcement people are not judge jury, and execution.
Exactly,
Right.
absolutely.
They supposed to, and I'm in using air quotes, supposed to protect the community. Now, what they really do is protect white men's communities and
Right.
property, because that's what they were formulated to do back in the late 1700s, early 1800s. And
Right.
then they got a promotion to chase after people, again, looking like us, who didn't want to
gun.
work for free. Go figure, right? Who wanted to do free labor? And so when we found a way to escape the human trafficking experience, they went and found us, rounded us up, and took us back.
Keep
That
us on
is
the
what
wraps.
modern day policing does. It is
Mm.
not to protect us. It is not, but we have to again force them to do that which they say on paper that they do.
So, but the next portion of that is going to be the due process, right?
Yeah.
Because no matter whether it be community violence or police violence, due process is entitled to everybody. No matter whether it be community violence or police violence, they'll be like, they love saying on the police side, oh, do you have a gun? Do you have a weapon? Right? That's their favorite line to say, right? And when it's
Yeah.
on the community side, they'll say, well, they got to stop killing each other, right? But then we're still going back to, there's still, I don't care the damn what anybody did, there's still a lot of due process, period. So I
Still,
think that goes back to the
It
community
is.
portion and the lack of education of us educating our own community, that no matter what somebody did, we as a people have to say, we have to ask those questions to each other and kind of think out the protocol. There should be no reason why, even if Johnny killed Mike, if his mama want to get the autopsy report, it should be easy for her to get it. It shouldn't be her jumping through hoops for her to get it. We all experience the same thing, right? No matter what it is, so whether it be
Yeah,
police or
grief
not.
is.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I would say, yeah, grief is the same. It doesn't matter how it happened. We all wake up the next day to an empty chair.
That's
To,
right.
It's all the
and
same,
looking
you
for
know.
answers, right?
That's
And
right.
looking for answers. A lot of the times, the police officers, I'll say in my experience, um, I don't know if it's just because, like we said, is just kids out here killing each other, or I don't want to say black on black crime, but but it to me it seems like they don't want to do the investigation. They're always constantly telling you, like, go out there and find some information and bring it to me, while they're sitting
Right.
down doing
Right.
nothing. Like,
That's insane. Why
it
do
gets
they job for
aggravating.
them?
Yes,
It's
it
not
gets
They
about.
got dollars pay
aggravating
for that
because
shit.
Well, we have to
That's-
demand. We have to
that's-
demand.
Yeah,
We have
that's
to
more.
demand. We
that-
have to
that's
demand
purposeful.
that they do it.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
That's
he-
purposeful. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's definitely just purposeful. I mean, any way that they can get us to chase our tails, they are implementing those avenues. They don't, and that's when you really know. Like I say this to the women that I talk to all the time who've lost their kids. You have to be automatically
oh, here you go.
private detective or uh, a lawyer immediately after the murder of your child. You cannot give them 10 minutes to figure some shit out, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to huddle up and they're going to figure out how to deter you, how to
Yep.
confuse you, how to stress you out, and how to
Yep.
silence you. That is
And
their mission, because that's
yeah,
going to, I mean, I get it sometimes, and I do. Um, there are overwhelming amounts of cases being done with them killing people, but also just as a culture and as humans, period. People are mad and getting upset about whatever, and then they take it there. So okay, whatever. But at the same time, your case and my case is no different from anybody else. If they turn around and don't do the work, you're not doing the work because you don't want to. You either don't care,
they don't care.
or which I think that they just honestly overall just don't care. Because once they say, okay, well, this was Mr. Timmons and he had a gun, well,
Yep.
he caused it himself. Who cares? I mean, I'm not gonna wrestle around or go out here and question people. You had 50, 60 people standing in your face and you not question one of them. You don't ask one of them nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then what they posted on social media was, well, we asked all those people and none of them will talk to us. Well, if you look at the videos, they were slinging their tasers and threatening to slam people and knock them out and doing all that stuff. You think we already don't fool with you. But we're standing here, so you know we witnessed it. But you're gonna slam your taser in my face and threaten me, and you want me to stand here and be a part of that? No, people don't want to be around that type of stuff. They already, I mean, like it just, all of it is created to cause this havoc with us and for us to be mad at each other. And instead of us saying, hey mom, my son was killed by the cop, but your son got a sheep thrown over him. I need to be at your rally, you need to be at my rally. We these churches and all these organizations that's getting all these damn funds and all this stuff and walking around with their little hats on and their J's and acting like this is we're doing work and your boots on the ground. Damn boots ain't on nobody's grounds. They just being cute for social media and pulling up and yanking around here, acting like, okay, I've done this and we've done it. You do one little thing and you drag it all over social media like you done some real work. No, we don't. We're not doing no fucking work. We're playing with people's lives. We're taking advantage of our platforms. And then that's another thing. That's just a whole nother rabbit hole. Because I'm
And,
telling you, when I get on these social media platforms and I see these people and they're on there talking about pop locking and dropping, shaking their ass, cussing, and all the dumbest stuff that they can figure out. You have a platform and 50,000 people are watching you. You need to be, everybody knows somebody's done been killed. At this point, you have a platform to speak up and help us get this stuff out. You ought to see me and Arnetta calling these people, reaching out to these people, texting these people, doing all the work, chasing people around. Can you tell my story? Can you tell my story? And people, oh yeah, they're picking and choosing on the social media. So the algorithm, I said that word wrong, drags those important cases as well. They don't want those stories to be told, but you got all of us. I mean, we need to be united in all types of ways. We need to stop buying their damn products. We need to stop doing, every avenue that they can get us, we need to shut it down. That's just what it is.
and let me go ahead, Miss
Oh,
Q.
I was going to say, I think that it's important that we start educating, ourselves, our community, because
Exactly.
a lot of times we do think that the answer that they give us, some parents and stuff, the answer that they give us, that's final.
It's
And it's
God.
not, and especially when you're dealing with grief and it's just you by yourself. That's why it's important that we educate our community, because I might be dealing with grief and I can't deal with this today, or I'm not thinking straight, but I still should be able to have somebody that can say, well, look, this is what we need to do, or these are the steps. And thank you, Lord, because this is what Patricia is for me. I really appreciate her because, like I said, when you're dealing with grief, sometimes you just can't think straight. If it's someone else, and that's another thing, because they don't, like you said, we don't share each other's stories and everything in our community because it doesn't affect them. It isn't until it affects them, and then they want to call you to support them or share their story. But that's the problem. When it doesn't affect them,
But
creative divide.
But it actually does affect them. And I think it goes back to the lack of education, right? It's a lack of education, because when you think it doesn't affect you, it actually does affect you. If you are okay with somebody going into jail and they supposed to be able to get they in court and be able to come out of that jail, and don't come out of that jail, but your tax dollars are funding that jail, that should affect you. It does affect you, right? Because again, though, any what happens to any of our kids can happen to anybody. And again, and even to the atrocity, it don't have to be that somebody even has to lose their life. It could just be you trying to navigate through the system and you're having an issue of just trying to navigate through the system. That shouldn't be a problem for all of us. And I think the community has this, again, the lack of education about what goes on in the cases, because the media controls the algorithm, right? Because they let you know what cases may highlight here and not. But then they go also, I don't care what case it is, they had a special way of villainizing a victim, so that certain people would then say, I'm gonna side with you on this way, I'm not gonna side with you on that way. So with that being said, do you guys think we can, with these problems being discussed, are we able to discuss these problems on a same platform or the same conversation, or do we have to discuss these things at a different approach? Does it have to always be a separate, or do we have? How do we figure out how to approach these things with a common ground?
And as far as who, with who?
The
Just
community.
in general. I think that an itinerary, so to speak, when we're having these conversations, so that we can hit on all things and everybody kind of can collectively speak on issue after issue after issue. Because when we go down rabbit holes, we don't get to say what we need to say, and then you think like it's almost like when you get into a fight with somebody, like, dang, I wish I would have said such and such. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish I would have told her that. You know, that type of stuff. I think that when we have the platform, and as mothers, like we all know this, that as mothers, when we lose our children, no matter how we lost our children, it affects us mentally. It affects us mentally. So sometimes our memories are not good. Sometimes our speech is not good. Sometimes our heart is not good. So it makes it hard to have these conversations. But I'm telling you, us women that are strong enough to fight, definitely have to be the voice and the mouthpiece until we can grow up other women that step up. And I just said this today to some really good people from a church that I went to at one point, that, and they needed to know, they didn't look like us, but they were pretty good people. And I had to say to them, like, anybody, like you just said, could be the next mom who's lost her child. Anybody could be that. If you have children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, godchildren, anybody's children, you can get that phone call. Nobody's exempt from getting that phone call. And then after you get that phone call, you have two options. You can get in the fetal position, or you can get the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just where we
Trisha,
are.
I'm gonna say this too, and anybody watching this podcast, y'all don't get it confused. When I say y'all, I'm talking about the community who's watching the podcast. When we say this can happen to you, it can be a matter of a car accident.
Right.
Your car could, your child could have a car accident or whatever, and you're just trying to get information that's pertaining to that car accident. But because you're going through the same system that any of us went through, you're gonna run into these same kind of barriers. So we're trying. Oh, you got two of you, Kiwi. Roxanne, you might have to get rid of the other Kiwi. There you
Do
go.
you?
Or if they don't want to, or if they don't
Yeah.
want to fight, or if they don't feel like the case is worthy, or they're overwhelmed, or whatever their issue is, that they don't want to fight or give you the information that you need to just understand, like just an autopsy report. It takes 6-7 months for some of these things. I mean, 6-7 months not knowing what's wrong with your child or what happened to your child. Your child could go in cardiac arrest, and the EMS just be eating lunch or something. I mean, it's all kinds
Yeah,
of
but
ways
but
that you
look,
could be
but does
affected
it
with
take
this.
6 to 7 months for these things? Does it? Because
Yeah.
again, you got cases like the Nolan Wells case, right?
Mhm.
The autopsy came back. We know what's going on with that case. It ain't been no 6 to 7 months. So does it? That goes back to what you said earlier, depending on what the case is,
Depending
right?
on what the case
It
is. Yeah.
depends on. It definitely depends on what the case is, because a lot of the times they may do something quick. Like I feel like in the Nolan Wells case, to close it, they thought that they would be able to shut it down. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
it was a drowning. That's why, like I said, it's
Whether
very
it be
important that
close
we
it,
educate us. Hmm.
yeah,
There's
whether it be
those fake
close it,
narratives that they paint from the jump. Like they
yeah.
want
Correct.
it to be shut down because
They
when
want
they
to close
highlight those cases that are stuff that they have done, what it does is it highlights overall the type of shit that they do. Because then you have to think like, well, dang, what in the world? And then look at how many times. I mean, they're notorious for making us like victimizing the victim. Oh, we can't swim. Oh, it was, like it's always back in our lap that it's our fault that these things are happening, and they're just comfortable doing it. It's like it blows my mind at the stuff that the people are not, black people are not fucking hanging themselves.
Mhm.
We're not
But
doing
Patricia,
that.
when you
You know
say
what
it
I'm
goes
saying?
back, when you say it goes back to your lap, because that's more so. So how do we as community get past that point? How many cases do we got to hear about? Whether it be Sandra Bland, Nolan Wells, no matter what it be, how many times do they have? Does the media have to get us all pumped up and rallied up, right, for it to go back to the same circle again? How do we get past that hump, y'all?
So let
We
me
got to
let
figure
me
out a
let me
way.
piggyback on what was just said about the community getting involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the question: why is it that everyone is in an uproar and is sharing and have a lot of conversation in the community about the Nolan Wells case?
I
What is
just
the
asked.
difference between Jamal Byrd's case? What's the difference between Xavier Hill's case? What's the difference between Tamir Newman's case, Elijah's case, Zabri's case? Why are some of those same people in our communities are every single day forcing through the conversation of Nolan Wells's cases? But when we look back at our children, how often did you share or have conversation or live feeds about our sons?
So those are the plants.
I
Those are the
just
plants
had
that
that
put in place
conversation.
on purpose. Yeah.
Right.
That
But
is
see, here's the
intentional.
thing. But once again, we have to also look inside of the community, because we know people that are actually sharing this information. So why can you say you will support? There's a difference between saying that you're going to support and actually showing up to support. We just got to keep it real. Because
Keep
here's
it
the
a
thing.
buck.
This
Keep
is
it
a
a
difference.
whole buck. And
Yes.
can I interject right here?
Yeah.
If anybody needs to feel shame, it's these people who say they boots on the ground,
That is
they
absolutely
activists,
correct.
they this, that, and the third, and they're trying to make a name for themselves or try to monetize other people's pain.
Yep. Yep.
I hope
Yep.
that you
Yep.
get the
Mhm.
eternity that your ass deserve, because that is a
Exactly.
vile thing to do. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
I feel
No.
very passionate about that. I hope you get the eternity that you deserve, because you're talking about people who are experiencing
I did that.
pain on a
I really
constant.
did that.
Mhm.
I'm telling you, I reached out to some people who, I mean, I'm up all night, eyes buck, scrolling, trying to find any kind of person that would help me, because every single entity that I could reach out to either ignored me, or referred me back to the people that did what they did. I mean, oh, they got all the tricks in their damn bag. I mean, they just, if I find one way to find something out, they find another way to call them ahead of time and send my ass back the other direction. And those things are the rabbit holes that after you get out of, I mean, you can't get, once you get down in that stuff and you realize what's going on, it's every single way. And when it just popped in my head when you were saying that wait a minute, I need to go back. When I reached out to some people and I'm like, oh my God, I finally got somebody whose name is big and everybody's talking and he's listening to my story and he's listening and he's gonna help. And then it's, oh, well, if you give me $5,000, I will put your stuff on a platform and let people hear. Like, what the? I was blown.
Fuck you.
I was blown.
Bro.
I was
Yeah, that's
blown. And then I got to
crazy.
think, like, you're monetizing off my pain. You want my money to show you can put me on a platform. And that's, let me tell you what, I could have gave these people the $4,000, the $5,000, the $20,000 to get my stuff out in the public. And it still would have had to hit the system that was created to not let me get damn justice in the first place.
Hello?
So you have to have enough
Hello?
knowledge to understand that they're playing with your ass. They don't give a damn if your story get out there or not. They're gonna get it on there and make it look like it's being real loud and stuff like that. But in the back end, they're not speaking on your shit. They're not going out their way to make sure that your story get no mainstream influences or anything like that. It's sad and it's horrible. But I was thinking that maybe in just us, starting places, that maybe going and doing outreach to people. So when you start being activists on things, that you grow up other activists as you come along. As you're going, then you give somebody else the flag and you let them run and go do it too. We cannot continue to try to truck these avenues by ourselves. It's too much. It's too powerful, and they got their hands up.
It definitely is too much.
The culture of the mindset of being an activist, right? That word, I kind of hate that word, because you live here.
Yeah.
Y'all live here. You know what I'm saying? So why would you not want to work in the community that you live in? It's like having a garden that you're not going to harvest. Pointless, right? But we're conditioned to say, well, someone else has that, right?
That ain't my problem. I'm here. I'm siloed. I don't have to worry about what's going on down.
Yeah.
Yes, you better.
You live here.
Yes, you
So
better.
you're not doing us a favor. When someone says, oh, no, don't you live here? So therefore, like what happens to my son is for her son or whatnot, and they let them go on. You're contributing to it by you saying you're going to charge me for something that's going on in your very own community. So I think the mindset of, oh, I'm helping these families. You're helping the community out that you live in.
But you got to understand too, Latoya, and this is the realization, two parts on that. Grief taught me that I can't trust everyone with my grief. Okay. That's the ultimate fact. I can't trust everyone with my grief. And what I've also learned, because I also run a mentoring program, and I just had a celebration on Saturday for the girls that I've had from ages 10, 11, and 12 years old
Mhm.
in the mentoring program. They're now graduating high school and they're on their way to college. And my husband did the same thing for the boys that was in his mentoring program as well. What that has taught me, even before my son's death, and we got to keep it real and we got to keep it 100, is that it doesn't matter in our own community. Some people just don't care.
But they
So
should
no
though.
matter, wait a minute. I get what you're saying.
Mhm.
We can't change their mindset if they're not willing to accept it and change their mindset on their own. We can't force their mindset to
I
change.
don't agree with that because
We
again,
can't
that's
force it.
that-
They have to
I-
go. They have to be
I don't agree
willing.
with that. I'm gonna say this though.
I'm gonna tell you why. Wait, one
But
second.
some
One
things,
second.
but
One
some things are
second.
not willing though, right? Some things are not willing. Some things we're gonna take back, right? Because if that's the
Latoya.
case, then us as Black women, we wouldn't have jobs right now.
Latoya,
We
I'm
wouldn't.
gonna tell you why. Because many of the kids that we've had since 10, 11, and 12 years old and that we celebrated on Saturday, some of their parents didn't even show up.
But again,
No, some of them. When I say
one second though, right? Hold on, one second
certain
though,
adults
again,
just don't
but-
care.
right,
We
but
gotta
not
take
that
it with a grain of
care.
salt.
right?
We gotta
they're
take it
not
with a grain of
caring.
salt. If I can't change the mind of
But
the
but hold on, no. But again, can you not change the mind? Or is a matter of how you change? So I'm not again trying to say how you're trying to change the mind, because at some point in time, even those signs that said black bathrooms here and white here and whatnot, somebody had to care. Somebody had to begin showing
I
up.
care. That's what I'm trying to get you to
That's
understand.
right.
I cared enough to show up for
but
somebody
it
else's
can't be a matter
children
of- but it
that
can't be
they
a
won't
matter
even show up
of-
for themselves.
Right, but it
So
can't
do
be
you
a
keep
matter.
focusing on those same people? When how long do you
hold
keep
on,
beating
wait.
that banter?
I'm not saying focus on those people. That's what I'm saying to you.
Mhm.
You have to still get. It can't just be us 5 people caring about this issue.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
the community at some point in time cannot be conditioned to not to care.
Yeah.
People have been conditioned to not to care. Like,
Yeah.
for example,
And not just that,
Yeah.
not just that. Let me say this. I in church Sunday, I had a young lady that didn't represent us, but she has Black children. And she spoke up and said, we were talking about going into they want to go to the hood. That's all they were talking about. We want to go to the hood and bring them to church and yada yada. And then she spoke up and said, well, there's a lot of parents. I live over there, and a lot of parents just don't care. And I thought, at first it kind of just rubbed me the wrong way, because I'm always the person that's thinking differently. And I feel like it's not so much all the time that everybody does not care. We have
Right.
all kinds of reasons why people are not present.
right.
They have
Right.
they have things
Right.
going on. They have it's a
Right.
lot of reasons why, and it's not that a parent doesn't
They
care.
don't want
Maybe
to
they're
care.
burnt out.
They got other shit going on.
They-
They can't
But
care.
they're burnt
But
out.
I feel like as a community, we have to be the ones to say, okay, hey, if you can't pay your light bill, right? How can you care about other community shit when you can't pay your regular bills? But at some point in
Right.
time, the community was concerned about if Johnny ain't have lights down the street. We did
Yeah, they
care about
were.
each other.
They were.
Roxanne, go ahead real fast.
Yeah, I got the church finger up and everything.
I see it. I
Wait.
see it.
I'm waiting
Hold
for my
on.
turn.
Hold
I
on.
see it.
Hold on. So two things can be true.
Mhm.
Right.
There's
Exactly.
people who don't care,
That is correct.
and
And
there
there
are
are
people
people
who
that
do care.
That is correct.
And our responsibility, because we are the change that we need
That's
to
right.
see, is to find those people who do care,
Right.
educate them so that they care even more,
Right.
and get them to be active in helping their community, our community, to be
Mhm.
safer. Now, not to be
But
too scriptural, but to be scriptural, there's always a remnant. Everybody is not going to be able to come. Where
Yeah.
That part.
we have been
That's
picked
right.
out for, the 5 of us have been picked out to be a part of this voice that's speaking into the darkness, into the
Mhm.
void. But if I know 2 people, and Toya know 2 people, Arnetta know 2 people, Patricia know 2 people, Kiwi know 2 people, now we have already touched how many people? 2 times 5 is 10.
Mhm.
But I
You
also
see?
feel like you
And
reach
then,
out
and
with,
then 10 more.
you
and
meet
then
people where they are.
more. Yeah,
Sometimes you gotta meet them where they are.
I definitely
Where they
agree with
are.
meeting people with where
Absolutely.
they are, but we also have to get to a point and understand that it may not be those people in our community. That is just the
Well,
bottom
then,
line.
and that is
Say this is my
what community
reasoning
is it
for
going to be
saying
from,
that.
Miss Arnetta?
Say again?
What if it's not going to be from
Look
our?
around. Just turn the light on. Look in the
What
closet.
community is it going to be from?
Right. This
Right.
is what I'm saying, because you said two things can be correct.
Mhm.
Either they are interested or they're not. So
Right.
therefore, the people that are not interested, so let's say we're going to do a numbers count, right? Let's say in that community is 5,000 people. And out of the 5,000 people, we may get 75 strong, right? And then what may happen is that other people from other areas may come into the community to want to help out as far as that community is concerned. So it's not going to always, we have to come to the realization and accept the fact it's not going to always be the ones that's going to be boots on the ground that are directly in our community. I say that because, like I said, I see it. I'm actually living that. When I started to run my mentoring program in this community where I am, do you know, people actually said to my husband and I, y'all are wasting your time. Those kids don't want nothing. They're not going to do anything. We had to prove to them that these kids were worthy in order to be able to help build them up. These were people in the actual community that looked just like us. My focus, and you know what I said? My focus was not going to be on constantly badgering those people in the community to help give a hand. So it took people from other communities to come in to help them.
I think that's important.
Yes, it is.
But I also think part of it is that's the lack of education. You don't know what you don't know, right?
And so some people think that education just stems from a book, and which is the smartest part of education is it is a book. But sometimes it's not a book. Sometimes it is genuinely giving a damn. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you can just like sometimes you can be like, hey, we're having this event for your children next week. Do you need a ride? Do you have gas money? Do you do you know, like it is sometimes it may be out of the 5 parents that didn't show up, somebody's being abused, somebody is on drugs. I mean, there's always some reason why people don't show up. I have a hard time believing.
And real fast too, hate to cut you off, but let's go back to this though. Let's talk about all our cases, right?
Okay.
Even with what happened when people are responding, think about what they're responding to and the lack thereof in the community, things that of the resources that lack. Right. It was in our community.
And so that is the problem.
That's what the problem is.
That is a real problem.
Even so, like, it can't be a matter, like Roxanne just said, you can get somebody else to come from an outside community, but you still live in that same community.
Right.
If you and your husband was to pass away tomorrow, right? What happened to your son, the community should still be concerned about what happened to him on the side of the highway. It should not just be. It shouldn't be.
But you can't force them to.
Hold on, let me finish a second. Hold on, one second. I'm not saying you can force them by no means at all. But you got to still educate them to know what they can and cannot do. Like Trisha just said, when that white sheet come on, they think, oh, that's the end all be all. So most people don't know what we can do next. And it got a condition like that so that we can just say, okay, hey, we ain't gonna fight for shit.
And that is really, really important, that even at the end of the road, there's still a light at the end of the tunnel. You still have to be able to express the need of doing things in a different manner. You have people that are used to stuff. They're just been conditioned, and and that's just what it is. So that's how we feel like, oh, well, nobody's gonna listen or nobody cares. But there are, for however many people that don't give a damn, just don't even care, not gonna show up, don't want to know, ain't trying to, my life is good, I'm over here, I work at McDonald's, I'm cool, I don't need shit, I'm good over here. For those same people, there's somebody in their household that gives a damn. It's somebody somewhere that's gonna give a damn.
That's right. Ask a question right here. Jehovah's Witnesses, right? Jehovah's Witnesses been around forever, right? I guarantee you, Jehovah's Witnesses knock at everybody's door, right? They don't stop because somebody don't give a damn. They still keep moving forward, right?
Exactly.
They will still get that message out. How do we get our community to get into that same kind of energy wave? Because you're right. You're gonna have the ones who don't care. And I get that. But also, if we continue spreading that same kind of message within our community, people are going to keep saying, well, I don't got to care. No, you should care. And this is
Right.
why you should
Through
care.
education, through
And then
education.
maybe you don't, and then maybe
Exactly.
that person, just like with religion, you can't make somebody believe in a God. You can't make anybody, but at some point you lead a horse to the water and they drink it or not. But guess what? It's gonna be some more thirsty horses somewhere. You just
Right
cannot
around the
let
corner.
that be the same space that you stay in. Because where your community may not care and other people may not care, there's other people outside that community or next door to that community or at your job or somebody, 2 or 3 people. And sometimes God had 12 people. He
And
used 12 people. So we got to, so let me tell you, if all we got is the 5 of us,
we got a
we
lot of
got an army.
That's a
We
And
got
that
an
is
lot.
army.
my exact point that I'm trying to make is
Yes.
that I can't continue to focus on the people who don't want to show
As you
up.
should
I
not.
can't. I
Yep,
can't
as you
keep
should.
focusing on that. So to your question, how do we get them to understand what I'm saying to you? It is highly possible that we may never get them to understand.
Whether you go to next.
Exactly. So therefore,
You just
I
say
can't
next.
utilize all of the focus that I have on trying to get them to understand. I got to rock with who I have. So therefore, in that community, if I only have 2 people, then I'm going to keep showing up for those 2 people. I
I would
can't
say,
fight
But it'll grow.
the
But
ones
to
who
that
choose
point
not
for
to.
me,
That's not how that's going to work. Yeah.
But to that point to me, I would have to disagree with you on that because again, almost like when you look at like pressure in a pipe, right? That pipe might not bust. You can take a glass and hit it one time. That shit might not crack. You can hit it again, it still might not crack. You might hit it the third time, that bitch still might not crack. And sometimes, because again, I don't, what happens to the No Child Left Behind that, right? Because sometimes, again, I do believe in you don't know what you do not know. So just because somebody, and again, no, I'm not saying force it, by no means at all. But you got a whole generation behind us because people like us will say, hey, well, they ain't gonna do nothing about the shit. So all these young people, they do nothing either because they had that same kind of mindset.
And I always ask, who's the they? The they is we.
Right.
And so I think it's 2 things. We continue to educate people.
Yes.
And we continue to tell our stories because the importance of telling our stories is either they control the narratives or we
control it, right?
And we have to control our own narrative. I don't need name talking for me.
But also with just us being a diverse group of our situations are diverse. You know what I'm saying? So because we have diverse situations, that what happened to your child happened to your child, what happened to Kiwi's child happened to Kiwi's child, what happened to my children happened to my children. But we do have a common bond. We have a common bond. And we may not be able to reach everybody because some people are in that fetal position and they're in that fetal position behind grief, they're a divorce or whatever their issue is. People just tuck it in and they can't do nothing. But then you also have people who, if you just hit that glass one more time, if you just go knock on it one more time, they may and they may not. But for every one person that may or may not, there's another person that may or may not. Or may or will or will do something. So
I think that what I was saying is I think that when we bring in people, even though like you said our cases are different, but usually when it comes to any kind of trauma or grief, we all bond over that. So once you get that community and stop separating our issues, and we have our community of people who are dealing with the same thing, we're all dealing with grief.
Right.
That brings in more people from the community. I think when we, stop dividing our pain and we kind of just like work together, we can build communities and,
But we also need to understand that our grief stems from the history of what happened. So the histories of what happened are the things that are really the true common bond, that the systemic racism is the overall problem. It's the overall problem because that the divide starts there. It's like, we can all sit around and talk about our children talk about children and grieve about our babies. That's all true and dandy. But initially, Your issue, my issue, and Arnetta's issue is them turning a blind eye to justice for us.
That's it.
Like they don't give a
That's
shit, and they're and they and okay with
Exactly.
holding us in that
it.
space so that
That's
we don't get out and fight about it. And then other
it.
families are like, well, I can't do that. I don't have a voice. I'm not gonna be able to say anything. My son had a record, or they say my son shot first, or whatever it is that they want us to buy into. And then now we're a part of the systemic problem. Now we're a
Right.
part of our own problem because we're not saying
Right.
anything. But there's other women that all they need, just like with Miss Kitty, that's all it took for me to sit on that phone and talk to her and hear her and understand where she came from. And now she's here.
So
You know, it was a
let's
whole
go
year and
back
some
to
change before I could get her to even talk to me on the phone. I love you, but it was a whole year. She just could not. So it's a lot of us that I know a lady right now. She lost her only son, her only baby, and she is still in the fetal position.
Mhm.
And this happened 2 years ago. She cannot. And I still go
It's
by there.
hard.
I still
It's
call. I still
it's hard.
text.
So
I
Patricia,
still
that
do.
that goes back to you being community, right?
Being part of
So,
community.
so
Right.
I think so. That's the part. Another again, my dreams are so big because again, and I have another lady, Rhonda. You and Rhonda will be like this because Rhonda be like, "Toy, you can't save everybody," and I said, "Yes, I can," because I feel like this. Do you feel like part of the reason why people don't care is because just what Kiwi, I'm just sorry, just what Patricia just said, how she kind of loved on Kiwi, she kind of nurtured her to help her. She was that community person for her outside of just that okay, you lost your son, we got a common ground. No, I'm gonna be your sister. I'm gonna be that person you can go to or not. Do you think people don't care because they also see that we have lost a sense of what community actually is?
I would say yes to that. And I will also say that it's not personal enough.
Right.
And being in the community is not personal, it's not enough to be personal. So if it's something that they can't relate to, many people choose not to gravitate towards in
Mhm.
regards to it. So, for example, we've all lost our children. It shouldn't just be us on the fight and on the platform in order to seek justice. Right? So before
Right.
I lost my child, anyone who was going through some type of grief or have gone through these issues, I have no problem in showing up because that's who I am. I am a nurturer by nature.
Mhm.
So therefore, for some people who've never, until they've experienced that type of loss, they can't see it as a totality. So we can't
That's
look at
it.
community in a whole until we start outlining what is the retrospect or introspect of the
Of community.
Community
Right.
is more than just you're living in this community.
That's
You
right.
don't have to, I don't have to relate to you because of the fact that you lost your son. It's
Right.
because of who I am by nature, by
That's
care,
right.
by compassion. And I can't
Yeah.
expect every person that I come in contact with and in the community to show up just like me. I can't always expect me out of them.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. So
Can I,
therefore,
can I just say this?
sure.
That we have bought into this thing called individualization.
Mhm.
Individualization. And that is it's new. Because some of us been around the sun a couple times.
I'm one of them.
I ain't no spring chicken. I can remember Miss Brown, you could get an egg from.
That's right.
Miss Jones, you could go get a cup of flour.
That's
This,
right.
that, and the third. And let me
That's
just say this for the people in the back of the podcast. If we are to survive what these people are doing to us in 2026 and
Mhm.
beyond, we
Mhm.
have to remember how to be like that.
Exactly.
That don't mean we got to agree with each other. That don't
Exactly.
even mean that we really got to like each other for real.
Exactly.
But we have a common goal that we need to march towards and put all of that other stuff aside and get
Mhm.
busy
Mhm.
doing that.
Mhm.
So showing up for community, like Patricia was saying earlier, that's more just like being in your. That's more like you can't just go out there for one weekend and like, oh, I'm in the community. That's not showing up for your community. I think people got to realize the consistency.
Consistency is needed.
Yeah, It's
That's
the
correct.
consistency, right?
And I
the
do. Like I
follow-up
get to tell.
afterwards.
That's where
Listen,
the issue is.
I
That's
get
where
out
the
and
issue is.
I am boots on the ground by myself.
Mhm.
But baby, if I get a chance at the gas station to tell about my son, I'm telling about my son. I don't know how many people I done broke down in tears telling them what them people done to me. And they just be like, well, let me get your information. Let me at least share this on social media. Like, I mean, it's about, you know, you have to be able to like you said it beautifully, Arnetta, like you just have to be in an understanding that everybody is not going to be where you are.
That's right.
Everybody is not going to be helpful to you.
That's
But at the
right.
same time, for the same amount of people that is not, you just have to move out that you have to leave
right.
them there and go wherever you can be heard.
That's right.
And I take that honestly in my days when I get up, because some days I'm defeated. I wake up defeated because that's just what it does to you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
It
meant to
does.
drag you. You know what I'm saying? I
But
mean,
Patricia,
watching three
I'm gonna
versions of your
still
son being
say,
shot is
I'm gonna
Right.
still challenge that. I'm gonna still challenge that theory though, because I kind of still feel. I know Anetta, you're like, here she go, but because I'm
No,
gonna say this though,
listen.
no,
only
we're
because
good.
of
It's
this,
good
right?
stuff.
Because at the end of the day, right, if we still leave those folks, and don't get me wrong, I get it. You can't take everybody and mama with you. I understand that. But even still, that still does not mean that portion of the community cannot be educated about what's going on.
Oh no,
I'm gonna
I
give you.
totally agree to that.
Let me build this synopsis for you, right? So you
Let's
know
go.
they always talk about crabs in the barrel, right?
Yes.
I'm in a big component that I believe that lead in a community, you leave, you learn, return, right?
Mhm.
So in my community, it's not a lot of people that, okay, so let's use the community in regards to growing up, right? Leave, learn, and return. So I'm a person who loves to travel. I have traveled amongst this world. I'm educated amongst this world. So therefore, my thing is that I'm going to go out here, I'm going to leave. I'm going to learn, and I'm going to bring that back to my community so that they can also understand you too can have the ability to be able to go out and see and help and do things. You don't have to stay complacent and stuck. Let's talk about the crab in the barrel mentality, right? So let's say you got 11 crabs that's in that barrel, and on the outside is the freedom. So if they understood when one person climbs up and get on the outside, they reach back and they get the second one. Then the second one reach back and get the third one. And the third one reach back and get the fourth one. Now you have a chain. You're connected. But the problem is that there's still some at the bottom that can't see on the outside. That there is life, there is world, there is love, there is compassion.
But
wait a minute, let me finish.
Real fast though, they can't see or they don't have the community resources to see.
You know, let me get there. You're not let me finish.
No,
right?
I
Okay.
hear you though, because my
The
thing
four
is this.
people, they're actually reaching back to help them get out, right? But some have been at the bottom for so long that that's all they know. So if they their fear is that they can't get out without understanding. If we all lock together, that boat is going to help pull them out. Some are already stuck in that
but what
zone.
I'm saying to you though is just suggesting us to leave them there. So do what with them there?
Latoya, I just said if they understand that we can
But
actually
what if they don't
reach
understand
back in.
though?
But you're still reaching. But how long? Listen, you continue to reach back. It's up to them to latch on, sweetie. You can't force them to hold on to your hand. But you keep reaching back in.
Is it them or is it the system though?
No, I'm not going to say that it's not the system, and I'm not going to say that it's them. We got to understand that people have the mentality that
they in a barrel.
Some
people are so, like I said, consciousness.
Yes.
Right. Where they are is a good space.
That's the point that I was trying to get to
until somebody comes along and says, "Do you realize that you are in a barrel, at the bottom of a barrel? And does this barrel have some Chesapeake seafood? Because now you're making me some Old Bay on it." But you're making me hungry.
But you also have people in the bottom of the barrel that have hope as well. There's going to be somebody down there that has hope as well. And so where you might feel like where they feel like if I grab on, then I'm scared to grab on because I don't know what's out there. Then there's somebody down there like just grab on and I'm going to help you up too. So then
that's the whole point of locking hands together.
Yes,
that's the whole point. That's the reason why. To your point, Latoya, is that we continue to come back and we're reaching education down in the barrel to let them know we got you if you come out here. We got you. And that's the purpose of being able to push that thing upward. It's never stopping. But the message that I relay is that I'm going to continue to try to help you, but I also got to keep going, because whereas you're stuck, there are people that actually want to be able to get to that point. I can't stay stagnant. In order to be able to get you to understand, at some point there has to be a mindset shift. Part of the problem in our community is that we lack the therapy. Our community is afraid of therapy and those resources because they have been conditioned. What happens here, let's go back to that barrel. What happens in this barrel stays in this barrel. We don't talk about it. We don't go outside of here and share those things that happen. Again, to that trauma. It's so much trauma that's built up that it's fear, that it forces them not to be able to know how to fight, not to want to be able to fight.
But if they don't know that there is a change, if they don't
That's a
recognize that
chain
there is
reaction.
change,
Right.
It's
if
a
they
chain
don't,
reaction.
if they don't recognize that it is change on the other side of the, then they don't know. But also, like she says, like Latoya says, the education piece is a must. It doesn't mean all education has to come from a book. It just means that I need to be able to tell you something that may be helpful for you. These people need resources off the bat. We need to be able to give resources off the bat.
Education
Because
is
if
in
you
the fact
don't,
that we're linking
because
together
if
to
you,
help you come out.
but if you don't
If you
know,
won't latch on,
but
if you don't
listen,
latch on, you won't know.
I understand it, but I'm saying like there's so many avenues, and again, this is a rabbit hole that is really harsh because it overall we can say everybody, and it's not everybody,
It's not
and it's not
everybody.
them, and it's not the like some people don't read, some people don't comprehend, some people have ADHD, some people have injuries, brain injuries, sicknesses, illnesses, and some of those people that are in the barrel that don't know how to hell to get out. And as long as we just keep but that barrel of people grows because it's a lot of people who don't even recognize that they're in the barrel, but also that they don't know who to ask. They don't have access to people that will continue to help them instead of like, I gotta keep moving. Oh well, you're down there, we're gone. No, you still have to grow up like I said, it's like passing that flag to the next person. You're gonna have people at every level of get up and go, or every level of lay down and die. You're gonna have everybody in every single spot, like every single spot. But if as we grow and as we learn the resources to help these families and help these moms start getting access to these files, raising hell until we get them, keep pushing until we get whatever we need. These systems are created to stop us from the very beginning of getting over there. So when you get knocked down while you're sitting right here, you can't get up. You just can't. I mean,
anything else. That's what I'm saying. So again, so that's the point. So again, it's by design. So if we have, even if the system are running by a crab and barrel mentality, right? That's still by design to kind of still keep us in that kind of mindset.
That's my whole point.
So how do we get out of that? Though, is what I'm saying to you. How do we get beyond that though? Even if we know they're doing that shit. Go ahead, Roxanne.
So what we're doing tonight is putting a big dent in that barrel.
Absolutely.
And the way, and this is not a quick fix. This is not a DoorDash or whatever kind of fix. This
microwave meal.
It's not microwave. This takes time and effort.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we're doing tonight, ladies, is we're making a dent in that by having this conversation to even open up the conversation to make it a wider swath of people, right?
Yeah.
It's not just somebody who was, one person was killed by the police, one person is all of it has something in common, like we said at the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. And so we're here to smash all of that, all of it. And we do it by connecting with one another, the five of us, and continue this conversation. Mm-hmm. And we do it by then taking this conversation and sharing it with other people who may not have knowledge about these issues.
That is correct.
Now, Roxanne, why we want to share this knowledge with other people? I think it'd be a good time to pivot to some pictures right now.
Yes, let's do that.
Let's do that. Let's put up. We know it's really important to know who we're speaking about, who we're fighting for. Yeah. Who is this beautiful young man I'm looking at? Who is this? Who is this handsome
guy?
That's my son. That's Tamir Newman. That's my baby.
Okay, Tamir Newman. Okay, Roxanne, who else we got coming up on this good runway? Who is this?
That's my son, Zachary.
Yeah,
That's
he looks like you.
He
Yeah,
does.
I know you probably heard that before.
Mm.
Handsome.
Sabri Miller.
Handsome, handsome.
And
That would be my Elijah. That's
Yeah.
that's
Elijah. Okay.
Elijah. Nice to meet you, Elijah. And then
Elijah.
last but certainly not least,
They
is
look alike,
Cavante.
yeah.
That's my baby. That's my twin baby.
Mhm.
oh
They
my
look
God.
alike.
He was forever 21.
Oh my goodness. Thank you
They look
for
alike.
allowing us to share them with our audience.
And
Yeah.
audience, I want to say this too, you guys. We're gonna also have these photos on our website, right? We didn't get into a detailed story about each one's case. That's your job to do, because it's your job as a community to be following up on the cases and also to figuring out what you can do as a community member to get involved. So no, we cannot force you to get involved, right? But it should be your job to want to get involved.
Mhm.
Visit our website. You can look up different cases. You're gonna see everyone's name who's on the flyer. So you can easily go to the news website, right? But again, don't let the news create the narrative for you. It is your job as a community member to do your own research and go beyond to see what's happening in these cases. I would say the similarities of what happens between community violence and within police violence and what we're fighting systemically. Because again, what goes on systemically is funded by tax dollars. Tax dollars, that's our money. So again, I know if my check came up short, I'm gonna go look for the money, see what's going on. So again, the community, well, you do have to at some point be more vigilant because the check ain't coming up right. The checks and balances is not adding up at this point in time. Whether it be
Nope.
community violence or police violence, and the community, we have to be the ones to check the check and balances.
Yeah.
Roxanne,
And I want to say quick, I want to say real
Please.
fast that I think that we all have the same heart as any other mother who's lost her children. And these situations are so just horrific, honestly, and traumatic to a lot of us that I don't want anybody that was listening thinking that we are not in unity when it comes down to this
no.
cause, because I feel like every one of us have some important points and every one of us are intelligent and have a way to speak. I think I'm kind of thuggish with it. Come down, I don't mind a cuss. I just get mad and I say what I need to say.
Hey.
But I feel like Arnetta is really passionate about how she feels about these situations. She's been in it. I think from my understanding, she just kind of threw herself into all these community works prior to even this happening and having to keep trumping through the mud to try to get where you at. Sometimes that we come off as
We call it as aggressive women.
as
And
aggressive, and I
people
don't want
are
other
used
people to see us that way. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't.
Listen, but I think that's the whole thing I say all the time, though. If they do, all right. But at the same time, my whole thing is like, we as women, hold on, church thing. One more, I'm coming to you. One more second. We as a people are allowed to have these conversations, right, in our own safe space. We have to make it normal that we can have these conversations without being like, oh my God, I can't talk to her tomorrow. No, I'm gonna get in a group chat. We got this phone call, right? Because again, we still have work to do. That's how they put us against each other, right? They put against. That is the way of them successfully dividing us. But them saying, oh my God, it's 5 black women. That's not even that. So whether you see the temperature get hot or not, we got at some point in time have uncomfortable conversations to move the needle forward. Go ahead, church lady.
So yeah, no, we would not be marginalized, discounted, or dismissed.
That's
And
right.
if I appear to be aggressive, that's because I am.
Hello.
At me. If this happened to you, if this happened in your community, you would be aggressive too.
Yeah.
I'll make no apologies for it.
And I'm gonna say this, Roxanne, even beyond that, the community, look every story. If y'all know Roxanne's story, you know Xavier's story, right? But take the time out too to look up Arnetta's story, look up Patricia's story, look up Kiva's story, right? Look up the similarities in the stories, right? Y'all should be as equally angry as we are.
Yeah.
And the problem is the community is not angry enough.
They're not.
Good. If you see us angry, good. Catch that energy. How y'all say it? Keep the same energy. Catch the energy over here and get angry.
Yes.
And
I
it's
think what they
important.
fail to realize is that they're one child away from it being their story. I say that quite
Exactly.
often. You are
Yeah.
literally one child away from it being your story as well, because
Yeah.
it can happen to you. It can happen to
Yeah.
any of us. The
Yeah.
problem is that they don't fully understand, like you said, systematic issues that have taken place in these communities. It was created that way because, one, in the Constitution, our people were not included in
Weren't
we the
considered.
people. And
At
therefore,
all.
to understand, they feel as though that there is no intelligence, there's no intellect, there's no love, there's no family camaraderie
There's no unity.
comes out of the Black community. And that's not true.
Let them
Because
keep
if you go back to
underestimating us.
the
Let
30s,
'em-
the 20s, the 30s, and the 40s, Black community was strong with two-parent
Yes.
household. Unfortunately, that system did not like the fact that Black people were strong. That's why we had Black Wall Street. That's why they destroyed Black Wall Street. That's why
Burn
they
it
actually
down.
dropped the drugs off in
Yes.
the Black community.
And the
Yes.
guns. And the guns.
in order
let's-
for it to take place. But here's the
Yes.
twist on that. They dropped the drugs in those communities in California. The issue that came behind it is that they didn't expect that Black people was going to take that and make money off of it. They only wanted the drugs to kill the people.
Kill them.
So then
Right.
therefore, what
profit.
ended up happening when Black men started making money off of it, then they felt as though, oh, we can't have
They gotta
them.
lock you up now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really resilient.
Thank
Yeah.
you. It's the same way. It's the same way when you spoke, Roxanne, when you was talking about how they arrested your son for weed, and weed is now legal. Think
Right.
about it. Why are
Right.
so many Black and brown people still incarcerated for
Because
marijuana
of weed.
when they made it
Mhm.
legal? You want to know why? Because they had to figure out a way how they first can make money off of that. That's the reason why they wanted to pull that responsibility back. So what they did was created these weed dispensaries, but they made the price point so high
And the
in regards
taxes.
to
That Black
the
people
average
couldn't
person
afford-
to
exactly.
study
Can't
this.
afford it that
Because
way.
they
They
know
couldn't
the
afford
average
it.
Black person don't have $3 to $5 million sitting around. So
Yeah.
they continue to try to make the bar higher. My goal and my purpose is we can't keep relying on their bar. We got to create our own bar in order to be able to get
Their
there.
bar.
That's
Fuck
the
their
thing.
bar.
I'm not trying
That's
to
never how we got over it, was going by their
Exactly.
bar. We had our own.
Exactly.
We had our own bars. 16 bars.
Exactly.
It's a
They
rap
created
band.
their own shit, right?
It's all set up that way. It's all set
But-
up that way.
But
It's
can
about
we?
us being able to connect as a people, right?
Yes. Yes.
But again, like you said, we want to save them all. But we got to understand we may not be able to save them all. We may go into a community and we may be able to get 25 strong and pray. As long as we continue to come back, some others are going to see along the way. But
Well,
I'm a
I
realist.
look at it
I
like
have
a,
understand that at
like-
some
like
point they may
cancer.
not.
Like cancer, right? I
Mhm.
look at it like cancer. This problem in itself, they like to put a band-aid on it. This need a whole damn reconstructive surgery.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
And so again, pulling back the layers on this, because again, I do believe we can save them all. But I think it's
Yeah.
gonna take a little bit of work.
I'm gonna say that's
It may not
I like
happen
to
in
take
this
on that.
lifetime.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean, I
optimistic
just,
too. I'm
I'm-
optimistic. I believe we can save them
I'm
all.
definitely
Yeah.
optimistic.
That's
I'm definitely
see,
optimistic,
I'm
and I
that's
think
see,
that it's
I
important.
believe that.
That's the
I
spirit
believe
of
that.
Mother Native people right there. That's
Yeah.
how this slimy country has been as successful as it been, because we do believe that we can save everybody, and
Yeah.
we do sincerely want to.
But it's that energy. You
It's
do
that-
have to have that energy. You
Yes.
have to have that want. You have to have that drive. You have to have that understanding that, yeah, I can't change the world, but I can change the damn world. Like, I don't
Yes.
think, I think that I have been told, man, them people are never going to believe you. Them people are never going to, like, you're one Black woman against this system. And I'll be damned if that's going to scare me. That do not scare me. That I'm the type of person that just give me more like, oh, okay. Oh, you want to try to make
Right.
me feel like I can't do this or that it can't be
I'm
done?
doing it anyway.
I am a Harriet Tubman. I am all of you got me fucked up if you think I'm gonna let you just ride. And
I
yes,
read,
I'm not saying that this may be on the CNN next year, but I bet you before I leave this world, somebody gonna remember that Elijah Timmons. I promise you,
There you go.
people gonna remember him,
There you
and
go.
they're gonna remember your sons. Because as long as I have a platform to speak on them, I'm gonna
I'll keep
keep
talking
pushing
about
those
it.
stories.
That's
I'm gonna
right.
keep asking those questions. And I ask anybody that's watching us, if you need to know, we love to talk. You see, we love to talk. Reach out. Reach out on our platforms. We're gonna tell you about these babies of ours because they are as important as your children and as the future children who are gonna need justice. We are still going to fight regardless. I don't care. Listen, get up, mama. Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up and pray.
I read a saying that I saw a saying this morning on Facebook that said it was one of them little psychological groups, and it made me mad because it said something about you can't don't worry about the things around you that you can't change or something like that. And I was like, well, that ain't true. I said, well, who the hell wrote this shit? Because again, like I need to be worried about what's going on around me. Like I have a house here, right? If my property tax is going up, whatnot, I need to be worried about what's going on here around me or whatnot. I don't want to train my brain to be conditioned about letting somebody else taking care of my shit for me. I'm not okay with that. I didn't know what's going on. If y'all gonna do red line and push it back or whatnot, tell me. You know what I'm saying? I know what's going on. So I think again, I do it again. It might not be next year, it might be in the next 10 years. But the mindset of we can save everybody. And I think again, it's the lack of education that the people have that we have to give to them. Again, because it might not be it's layers to this shit, right? It might, we just figuring out where people when you said meet them at as far as what they might need in order to begin the fight. That might be what they need in order to push back or whatnot, right?
No, I'm in agreement with that. I'm in agreement with meet people exactly where they are. I'm definitely in agreement with that 100%.
But meet them where they are to help them out though. I'm not saying meet them where they are and that's where because they're there. No. Figure out why they're stagnant right there. Could it be a reason why you're not seeing the fight? Do you just not know how to fight as to why you're right there? That's part of community building though.
So my point on that, I agree with that. But also to add to that is that we can't figure it out solely. They have to be willing. They have to be willing to share what's keeping them stuck.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So you can still do the work. You can still keep coming back to the community, but I can't read minds.
Oh no.
I can't read minds. We got to understand that everyone is not going to always be open in order to share whatever that thing is that's keeping them there. It doesn't mean that we stop. Yeah. We still have to be laser focused. But you got to think about it. If you keep stopping along the way, my goal and how I look at it is that I just pray that I infect enough people with the positivity that can actually link up to make that change. So if I can't get all 100, I pray I can get a strong 3. So that strong 3 is going to move. Either they're going to remain where they are to try to help the consistency on that, or the 2 might stay and the 1 might leave out. But the thing of it is that I got somebody. I can't put my focus on the strong 100 because I'm never going to be able to go along that journey and continue to save and help others as well.
But hold on. But what if those 3 you got, right? Just those 3 that you have, you're able to figure out how you can invest in those 3 to make them those strong pillars.
That's what I just said. I just said that.
So even outside those 3, the ones who still left behind, you figured out with those 3 how to do it with those. What about those other ones too?
That's what I just said.
The same kind of assistance, right?
That's what I just said. Those 3 that actually linked in and got onto it, then they are the ones who possibly may decide, okay, you know what? One of us is going to stay here so that we can continue to focus on what's happening within that circle. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to stop pouring into that circle, but I can't stay in that circle because there are others that need help as well. So if my primary focus is just in that circle, I'm not going to go any further than the circle.
I think that telling our stories. I think that telling our stories.
Yes.
I think that telling our stories and keeping all the doors open for other parents to be able to relate to these cases where they are all different, but they're all in the same injustice. Correct. I think that if we stay in line with what we need to do,
the goal,
the goal is to impress upon everybody's heart who is injured by this system, that has been failed by this system, and open the doors to resources and help for them, is to meet them where they are. I mean, if you don't know, if you don't understand how to file this paper, then hey, call Trish, she gonna show you how to file this paper. And then if you feel like I don't know how to get to that paper, then you feel comfortable enough to know if I call Miss Arnetta, she gonna get that paper for me and send it to me. Like that's the nature of, I feel like, what we need to be able to do to each other. we gonna have all
That's
kinds of
that's
crazy shit
exactly
around this circle.
exactly
That's gonna
what we need
be
to do.
there's gonna be it comes off as pessimistic, but we don't want to perpetrate that. We don't want to add more insult to injury in those areas where we don't even have to attack those things. The thing that we need to stay
Exactly.
focused on is the fact that we have all these moms, thousands and thousands of moms who don't get the same attention as Nolan Wells, but also the harm has been done the same exact way. The natures are the same exact way. So as we trump along, as we go along, we press upon those parents who need resources, who ask for
Right,
resources, but
right,
also those parents
right.
who we have to knock a little harder.
A
Hey,
little bit
I got this
harder.
paper. I got
A
this
little bit
paper for
harder.
you.
That's
I
all.
got this paper. And if you don't know how to file this paper, then
I'm
I
gonna
can
help
help you fill
you.
it out and I can help you send it on. I
Yeah.
think that's the nature of our group. I think
That's
that
it.
should be what's going on. Yes,
Yeah.
there's gonna
That's
be
it.
people who don't give a damn. There's gonna
Yeah.
be people like, you know what? I can't. Or I don't care. But we're not that. And we're not gonna push that. We're gonna push. If you want it, we got it. If we don't got it, we're gonna go get it. Because I know Latoya know, and I know Miss. I know one person out this group, or one person that we may know, or somebody I went to school with. All those same white
The
people
networking.
pull from their resources and have
Yeah.
the same way they build a community of people that really are hard and try to keep us from getting any kind of justice. We need to build the same group of people
That's
to go
it.
Right.
behind their ass and figure
Right.
it out. Okay, well, you're gonna make it hard for this parent to get this autopsy report.
Uh-oh, you
Right.
on you
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 went
on
on
mute,
mute. Wait,
You're on
you
Patricia?
mute.
on
Patricia,
mute.
you on
We can't
You
mute.
on
hear you.
mute. And he just going in too.
You're on mute, Patricia. We can't hear you.
She touched her phone, y'all. Oh, we told her to touch her phone.
No.
Uh-oh, I don't know. I don't know what you did.
She might have hit the microphone.
Hit your
Oh,
mic. It's
She's
uh-oh.
frozen.
Oh Lord, y'all.
Yeah.
So we
uh,
told her to touch her phone. We said don't touch her phone while the phone going, right?
yeah, Latoya.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
we gonna wrap this thing up this evening. I'm
Yes,
hoping
ma'am. I think we should. We've been an hour, 30 minutes
we
on right now.
to
Thank
have
you,
There she
Judge.
another.
goes. She back up.
We get to have another.
Before we go, let me ask this question to everyone in the group. In this trial and process with your children, has anyone sought therapy while going through this?
I do.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, I will say that I did try therapy, and I found that it was hard for me
That's
to
same
speak
here.
with someone that didn't know what I was going
Same
through.
here.
But what ended up happening is I started my nonprofit, and
Mhm.
I started advocating for
Mhm.
prevention and restoration, and breaking the cycle of violence. And that's
Mhm.
been my therapy, my nonprofit.
I actually experienced what you said, Kiwi, but it took me 5. I had to go through 5 therapists until I
Mhm.
found the one.
Mhm.
And one of the issues was, like you said, just because they didn't experience exactly what we went through, it's about finding someone who has that initial training to help me with the psychological tools in order to be able to work through it. So my suggestion to you, sweetie, is to continue to find, if you need one, I can refer you to one, and then maybe he can refer you to someone else. Therapy is key. I'm gonna be honestly, I can't say anything against it because grief does not have permission to show up. It shows up at any given day, at any
It
given
does.
moment. And I
But
had to
everybody's too.
understand, and oftentimes we choose not to go to therapy because we feel as though we can rely on our family members and our friends. And
Well,
baby,
and
let
I'm
me
gonna say
tell you,
this
the grief
though.
that I was
I
dealing
don't
with,
do therapy. I don't. Everybody saying knows. She knows.
I
I've been
don't
the
either.
one. I'm not that kind of person, and I've tried it a couple times, right? And I'll say this, and I'm gonna say this too. For me, I've thus far I haven't. I would say found a quote unquote right therapist because what happened to my son has nothing really necessarily to do with me. My grief more so comes from, and when I say deal with me, I'm not dealing with okay, yeah, the traumas I'm dealing with grief, right? But I feel like a lot of therapists are trained to deal with grief and they're not helping. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with the system right now. So I have no interest for you to talk to me about my feelings when I'm angry right now about the system. So I haven't. So
Right.
I have found a the closest thing I found to accepting was a psych it was like a psychology therapist. No, I'm sorry, not psychology. Shit. Oh gosh.
Cognitive therapist.
No, Roxanne. What is it? Oh God. It's something with a
Psychiatrist,
P. Who?
a psychiatrist.
Not psychiatrist. Oh my God. It's gonna come to my. It's gonna come. It's gonna come to my brain. We got a song called. But it's
Mm.
about the way of the world and how how the world is structured.
Sociologist.
So, yes, that kind of therapist.
No,
I was
excuse me,
trying
what
to.
was
Okay.
it? I didn't hear you.
A
So a
sociologist.
sociologist.
Yeah, therapist. Because I
And
wanted to do a
social workers
solo.
are similar to sociologists.
So that was
Mm-hmm.
my
Yeah.
whole thing. I wasn't really interested in them, like the whole like my. I don't need to tell me to breathe 5 times in and out. Like, okay, I'll do that, whatever. Because I do the whole grounding shit. I do that with
See, and
Roxanne.
what you did right
I
there,
do the whole. I
Latoya.
do the
Let me
grounding
let
stuff
me just
too.
say this. What you did right there is part of what we deal with in the community. Because so
What?
many of our people feel as though, oh, therapists can't help me get through what I
No,
need
no,
to
no.
get
I'm
through.
not saying. I
No.
didn't say it's bad for you because again, I've gone to therapy.
Right.
For me, I feel like the certain kind of therapy is what I need. But what I'm saying though too, I don't need the whole mechanism of like you need to heal. I ain't do shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my whole thing. Like I cannot heal from something when the word of the world is still fucked up around me. That I'm still
Because
Mm-hmm.
it's
having
still
to address
traumatic.
every single day
Is
of what time.
that
So it's
what
about
happens? What happens
utilizing
is
the
this system
tools.
causes more trauma. It causes
Exactly.
more trauma.
Exactly.
And but I have to say this, that I am a real advocate of therapy, but
Yeah.
I think that it's individualized because some
Right.
people can't. I went to therapy and my therapist recommended that I do I forget what it was called, but it was like this tapping stuff that they were trying to do. And that shit drove me crazy. Like, please don't do that. That just, it set me off. I was kind of irritated. But I did do OMT, which I really love. And OMT, I can't think of exactly how to describe it right now because my brain is letting me loose. But it is basically they manipulate your body. It's like massage therapy and physical therapy in one. So it causes you to be able to release trauma in your body,
Oh yeah.
what how they manipulate your neck and your shoulders and places because we hold that trauma in our wound, our bodies, and
Oh
things of
yeah.
that nature. So that's what I
Yeah.
found was good for me. But I don't want people to feel like if I don't do therapy, I'm never gonna heal, or if I don't,
Right.
or
Right.
be
And
so
that's not
don't,
Right.
true.
because
Because
that's not
what
the
I was
case. Because
saying.
every
Right.
one of us have a
Mhm.
way to cope, and every one of us
Yeah.
Right.
have learned to deal with things in our own way. And maybe right now, where I'm at right now, I can't sit and talk to somebody who, for one, don't look like me, and for two, ain't never lost a child. Try to tell me how to deal with it. That's not gonna
And
work for me.
and
But
that's
there are
exactly what
therapists out there that
I
may have
say.
not lost their children, but may have lost a sibling or a niece or a nephew or something like that that you can relate to. So it's not a no. It's just like right now that may not be my portion.
But see, it's
That's
not
what
about
listen
it's
And
to.
what
not
I was
about them
saying is,
understanding or actually being in an exact space of what you lost. It's about helping navigate through the triggers and providing tools to help you deal with that. Prime
Yeah,
example,
but at
my
the same
therapist.
time
Wait a
though,
minute, wait a minute. My therapist haven't lost any children, but therefore I work in corporate America where there
but
is
what I'm saying
nothing
is
but
this
white
though.
people.
I'm not talking about
Whereas
a
my
therapy person
child
like
was
that.
murdered by white people. So those triggers of going back into a space where I'm dealing with white people every single day, I need to be able to
Right.
understand how to cope with those mechanisms
But
when that trigger is
most
there.
therapists are not trained to deal with police brutality though, period. So
No,
therefore they
nobody's trained in order to deal with police brutality. But
right.
I
So
feel
that
as though in order to have the proper resources to help with those triggers actually do matter.
but yeah, but some of the triggers that we're dealing with though, they can't help with that. Roxanne, go ahead.
So as a certified psychotherapist and one who is a certified trauma specialist,
Mm-hmm.
I am here to to say that it is important for you to get help
Mm-hmm.
when just like you get help if you broke a nail
That's it.
or you broke your leg,
That's it.
you need to get help. Now, when you go looking for the help, you need to be clear about what kind of help
What you
you
have,
need.
you need.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And so the people that you interact with, you get to guess what? Interview them and see if
Yeah.
they
Choose them. Right.
provide you with
Exactly.
the
Right.
help that you need.
Yeah.
Not
Exactly.
everybody's going to be qualified, as you
Mm-hmm.
guys just
That's
said,
right.
to
Mm-hmm.
provide that help. But
That's
guess
right.
what? You talking to somebody who understand it from the soup to the nuts.
So like saying with that being
I,
You
I,
always
said,
have, but
then
you have to have the
I'm with that.
personality match too. Like you
I
got to
am
be able
not.
to have that
I'm not here
personality match.
to. I'm not here. I just want to say that I am not here to promote any. I just think in just
but like
in
saying, I'm gonna say this though,
transparency.
even but therapy sometimes can be not like a one-on-one session. I literally
Yeah.
talk to you probably like every single day, right? So
Mm-hmm.
just how Kiwi said her and Patricia had that community, they had that bond with each other, whatnot, where they can kind of ping pong of each other, where they're able to build each other up, right? So I would say this: sometimes therapy doesn't have to look traditional to everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that fair to
Exactly.
say?
I
Right?
Because
agree.
we have bought in,
Exactly.
let me just say this: we have bought into the other people's idea about therapy.
Exactly.
When I was growing up,
Exactly.
therapy looked like my mama and her
My
best friend
grandma,
and her
Mhm.
and maybe an auntie in the kitchen
right,
with a pint of Johnny Walker Red, and they
right,
talked over all their issues. Keep it a buck, and they talked
right.
over all their issues over a drink. That's a type of therapy, and so we have to bring into these spaces what we call our indigenous ways of knowing
That
indigenous.
is
Now,
correct.
all I'm saying is
Mhm.
how we was taught to do it,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
How we
I
was
if
taught.
Mhm.
So
when it comes to like my nonprofit, I bring out therapists to talk to the mothers.
mhm,
But like I said, for me and my experiences,
mhm,
it just didn't work me going in that type of setting, sitting down talking about my
yeah,
son. And it
yeah,
may just
That's
be
me.
like I told you at the beginning, it's hard for me to talk about it right now. So
right.
it
Mhm.
may just be that right now. And I just use
Mhm.
my nonprofit helping other parents, other mothers
Baby
and,
true.
other families deal with their trauma and their grief.
Yeah,
That's helping me right now. But I know, I do feel like at some point I am going to have to,
yeah.
accept that this is real and
Mhm.
talk about it and
When
deal
you're
with
ready.
it. But
When you're
as I
ready.
said, right now, I'm still kind
Yeah,
of, I don't like to talk about it.
Yeah,
yeah.
Mhm.
because you have to
When you're
pace yourself and measure yourself, and
ready.
everybody's grief and trauma is individualized. It's not
Yeah,
my
definitely.
grief is your grief and your grief is my grief. We all have to navigate this
Right,
thing through a
right.
way that is healthy healing, and it may
Mhm.
not look like it for you or for me, but at the, like she said, eventually I feel she's already feeling like eventually she could
Yeah.
possibly look into another avenue. So that's what it's
Mhm.
about. That's what about. You're gonna graduate to that section and 10 other mamas or 50,000 other mamas are going to graduate to that section. We all are not going to get there at the same time.
And
That's
We
guess
can
what?
we can we can meet in the middle and love on each other
That's
as
right.
we are, but
Mhm.
we
Absolutely.
but we're going to
That's
be
right.
we're all going to be in different areas. Every one of us on this phone are in different areas of grief
That's right.
as we speak, but we can still come into the same space and respect
And
each other
keep
and love each
fighting.
other and
That's
Mhm.
hash it
And
out. So,
and the truth is we are each other's medicine. We
yeah.
are each other's
Yeah.
medicine.
Yeah.
That we have, if nothing else we could take away from this talk this evening, we got
Yeah.
to understand we are each other's medicine. We
This is
need
therapy right here.
This
we
was
need
therapy.
each
this
other.
is therapy.
We need each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need each other.
Yeah.
And
We have
so yeah, we
we are
do. So I'm
we are
hoping this
unique in our
will
grief.
continue. Yeah, I hope we could continue these kind of conversations because I think that they are very important for
Hmm.
where our community needs to look like
Yeah.
and how we need to stand up, right? Not this divisiveness, not none of that.
Mhm.
And I would
This
say
is
that
important.
the things that were meant to destroy us, each one of us, have in fact made us invincible.
All right.
Think
Yes,
about
All right.
that.
it has.
It
Mhm.
is. It's the truth.
Yes,
It
it
It's
has
has.
definitely
made
done that for me. It's
us
definitely
invincible.
done it for me. And I'd like to also ask that, Arnetta runs help avenues. Miss Kiwi runs help avenues. I haven't learned you guys what we I know Toya has avenues to help and stuff like that, but I just anybody that is seeking any type of help, don't be scared to reach out and ask. We may not be the fix, but we are definitely the avenue to get to try to do to
We can
seek justice, to get resources, to try to get help. And so you don't need a platform to do that. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to have these huge voices and be known. Cause I just feel like God said, don't be boastful, don't be running around acting like I got it going on and I'm gonna do all this because I ain't nothing. I am not nothing. I am just another sheep, and I'm just trying to do what's best for my
Your
own self, but
community.
also be able to help you guys. So if you can reach out and you want to know how to file something, or you just have a question, all it takes for me to just go. Sometimes Google is my best friend. Sometimes
Mhm.
Chat GPT might lead me to a different direction. But if I can take 5 minutes to do it, I'm gonna take that 5 minutes. I'm gonna stop what I'm doing, and I have to do it right then and there. Because sometimes if I turn my back, I forget it.
I'm
But
good.
I will also come back and I will help. So I just want people that's watching to know that we are a group of people who love each other, we love other people, and we want to be helpful. And I just feel like if anybody needs to reach out and ask, you can find us on Facebook, you can find us, on this platform. Just I would just ask you to just get up and ask for help, because
Yeah.
sometimes that's all it is. You have a voice, it's in your chest, it'll come out, and your baby meant just as much as our babies mean to us. Your
Yes.
baby means the same things to us. And I met Kiwi through another mom who lost a kid, who said, let's go to Kiwi's March. And, I'm like,
We were
March? What am
together.
I going to do this March? I'm like, Lord Jesus, I was on the ground I was in fetal position with my head
Didn't
covered
move,
in the
right?
dark, and I didn't know what I was
Got
going
you
to
out.
do. And when I went there and seen this mama who you see, she's real quiet, but I'm telling you, them people rallied around her. They loved her. They were talking about her son. They wanted to know what happened. She had people speaking. And oh my God,
The
they gave
energy you
they
felt,
did a
right?
little, they did a butterfly release where she gave out everybody these little cards. And when you
Mm.
So
Mm.
Patricia, I would say just still in that energy, right? You guys hear the story she's telling y'all about how she was able to kind of catch it like cancer, not like cancer, like per se, right? Or let me use a different analogy. Or I would say the wildfires, and I would say that even the way how things begin to catch on, right? When you guys listen to the podcast tonight, community, I ask of you, and I'll keep saying community. Any story you take from this podcast, you got five you can choose from. Five. We gave you options tonight. You got five stories you can pick and choose from, right? But find the similarities within our stories, but get active within your community. Don't listen to the podcast and like it. That's no good for us at all. It doesn't do you good any good either. Find a way to take from this podcast and to be about that action. Roxanne, wrap us up.
Yep. Y'all have heard this conversation, powerful conversation. One thing I'm going to disagree with my sister Patricia down there. You are something. You are special. You
Mhm.
are
That's right.
That's right.
powerful, and you are important. All of us are. All of
Yes, you
us
are.
are. All of us are. I think Miss Kiwi would say that you were special in her life because y'all made that connection. I think
Yes.
Miss Arnetta might
Yes.
say you are
Yes.
special in her life because you made. You see what I'm saying? So we all have a special.
Well, I
But
just wanted to say that in the midst, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to say in the midst of that, when she did that for me, I was in the fetal position. I
Mm.
yeah,
was in that fetal position. And when
Mm.
I came to her march, didn't know her from a hole in the wall, and seen her navigate through those people, and people were raining around her and asking questions, and she had all these people speaking, it gave me the power that I
Mm.
needed to be able to have the voice that I
Mm.
have.
And
And
we
I
can move
never
forward.
knew that I
Thank
had it until I
yeah,
went to that event. So I'm saying,
Yeah.
mamas, we got to show up at these events. We got to
Yep.
bring our children
Yep.
who possibly are one of these children, or whose children may be possibly one of these children. We have to come together at
well,
some
so it
point
don't be
every
nobody
chance we
else's
get.
children.
We got to
Yes.
do it. We got to
So it
do it.
don't be
Exactly.
nobody else's children.
Thank
That's
Yeah,
the
you.
yeah,
goal.
yeah.
That's the
Exactly.
goal.
And don't just like the
Go.
commentary, share it.
No,
No.
Don't
Share,
share
just
it.
share it, talk about
Speak
it.
share,
up.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
share.
Everybody's watching this, that's interested in this conversation, must know somebody who's dealing with this type of situation. So if
Yeah.
you're dealing with this type of situation, there's other mothers that are dealing with this type of situation, and collectively we can raise some hell about our babies.
And
We
look,
can
I'm
raise
gonna
some
say this
hell
too.
about the silent babies and the weighted rug that they're sweeping them up under. We can
Throwing
raise
away.
hell about
I'm
these
gonna say
people.
this too though. Gonna go beyond the share though, y'all. Right? We got into this culture where we like to just share something on social
Hitting the
media and
like
try to get
button.
likes and shit and try to get
Yeah.
Yeah,
like the whole like. We got to
Yeah.
get off of that.
yeah,
Again,
Get
stop being
off
them
of it.
dogs. We them dogs who get off the porch and bite somebody. Right?
yeah,
We ain't them up barking from the porch. Jump off that motherfucker and bite somebody. Have
exactly.
that kind of mindset where you can really be about that action for real.
No,
That's
don't
right.
just bite them, rip their skin off,
Rip
rip
it
their damn
off.
skin,
Rip it off.
rip their
Put them
skin off.
teeth into them.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
You
right.
know?
All right. Y'all heard the ladies, the sisters have spoken. This has been life after the impact. Don't be sitting there acting like you don't need to get involved, because you're the very one we talking to this evening.
Exactly.
Get off the bench, get in the game, and find out how you can help in these situations that we've been talking about this evening. Peace. Next time.